So I'm just fresh here in your nice company. So yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, yeah. So welcome to our summer course, Dr. Tarabula. Can I just call you Taida? Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome,
I'm
Taida.
feeling young all the time. Yeah. Okay.
How is the weather in? You are now in Warsaw. Warsaw, not.
Not really, because
Mm.
I just moved to a forest, so I'm sitting here and
Mm.
inside the forest, inside a small village, and at my new home. Yeah.
Oh, I really
We,
want to visit you there.
yes, yes. So I'm just going to be retired soon. So these are my
Yeah.
last months at the university, and
Ah.
yes, and maybe it is even my last lecture connected with university
Oh,
practice. So
okay.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
okay.
happy retiring then.
Thank
And then
you.
yeah,
And
and
I
then
think
now
we
Great
are so
time.
lucky to get to know you
yeah,
and have a final
right,
lecture, from you.
right,
So thank you. We are honored to have you. Thank you.
Uh,
right.
I hope to have more time for photographing and writing books and have
Right.
nice
And
meetings with the photographers. Yeah.
right. And traveling around the world, yeah, Aida?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, that's my favorite activity. Yes, with camera,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, this is the time. I know. I also want to do that because, but before retiring, we are so busy for everything, for family, for work, and then after retire, I want to, you know,
That's
traveling
right.
around the world.
Yeah. For
Okay.
gardening, for gardening. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Before we start Dr. Taida Tarabula session, Taida, please allow me to read your short bio. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Dr. Taida Tarabula is a Warsaw-based art photographer and also an academic teacher. She graduated from forestry faculty at Warsaw University of Life Science. And after studies, she started working as an academic teacher at the same faculty. So she does till now. Her main scientific interests have always been related to ecosystem ecology and environment protection. So very related to our summer course. Yeah. In
Yeah.
parallel to her academic work, she began taking photographs. At the beginning, photography was her passion. Then it became her new and favorite job. Oh, okay. In the past, she had dealt with landscape and nature. Then she tried many different genres, from street to documentary, from pets to fine art, from travel to stage and conceptual photography. Wow, so very diverse. As she often says, she would like to explore more and more. Her works were awarded in international contests. For example, Julia Margaret Cameron Award for women photographers. Wow, very impressive, Taida. Tokyo
Thank
International
you.
Photo Awards, TIFA. International Photographer of the Year, IPOTIMA, mashallah. International Photo Awards, IPA. National Geographic Photo Contest, and many others. Wow. For almost 20 years, she has been a member of the Union of Police Artists, photographers, ZPAF. Yeah. Besides it, she has some experience as a photo editor in Polish newspapers, as a photographer in one of the biggest Polish photo agency, Forum. Okay, as an author of photo albums and many photo exhibitions. For some 16 years, Taida has been primarily involved in teaching photography in her own photo school. Oh, even you have your own photo school, mashallah, in Warsaw. This year, she starts her postgraduate studies on photography in therapy and self development. Well, besides her photographic and educational work, she loves dogs and traveling. Oh, you love dogs. I have cat. So we have pet.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is a quote by Jonathan Carroll. A style is, in a way, the inability to do something differently. Therefore, she always tries to search for some new original ways to self-expression. Okay, thank you so much for a very impressive short bio Dr. Taida sent me. Thank you, Taida.
Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much.
now
Yeah,
we can start your session.
okay. My lecture will not be very typical one about how to press the buttons to get a really beautiful picture. I decided something different, so I will try to share the screen, and perhaps you will have a lot of questions about how to photograph. And first of all, just a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So I will try to start with the presentation. Perhaps it's maybe strange for some of you, but photography is something we call visual language. Usually, we get used to think about photography as something beautiful to show other people. For example, beautiful landscape, beautiful people, beautiful goods. Everything is usually beautiful. But I would like to show you that by photographing, you don't need to create more beauty than we have. You can, for example, think about your personal story and think about photography as a kind of paintings of your emotional life, about concluding, about describing your own world using the only camera and the outer world. So maybe that's a little bit different than typical wildlife or landscape photography or beauty of flowers, beauty of anything else. But at first, I will start with some very, very short history of photography. Perhaps you know that photography means just drawing with light. This is the only technical thing which we need to know, because we may use different tools, for example, different type of hammers, just to knock to the walls. And the same is here in photography. We change all the time. We change the gear. We change the techniques. We change the this spare parts, for example, for very, very analog to very, very digital, and even AI, like today. So think about the camera as just a special type of pencil or a brush or something like tool. But the most important is what you want to draw with this brush. So this visual language, I will try to explain the term a little bit later. But wait, something happened that I cannot move. Okay. Have you ever heard about something like camera obscura? Camera obscura was invented many, many ages before, in the past, in the very past. And this was just based on such optical phenomena like shown on these two pictures. On the left side, you can see just box which has to be completely dark, completely black inside. And if you make a small hole in one of the walls, you can see the external world, external view inside the box on the opposite wall. But the picture you will see will be just upside down. This is just optics, and this was discovered many, many ages before. But then people started using camera obscura just to draw just landscapes many different types of them. And with the use of a pencil, they could just draw around the trees, around the buildings. And perhaps you've heard about the painter whose name was Vermeer. He and also another who was painting our beautiful capital city. So there were just something not creative, but rather reconstructing, but something like redrawing from nature. And for many ages, people have tried to capture the light, capture these images seen on the wall, but without any success. Many, many years later, they found that there are some special salt of silver which are sensitive to light, and then the photography started. I will not tell you maybe the whole story. I will only show you the first steps. To the right side, you can see the very, very, very famous camera, one of the first ones, very heavy one, with the wooden box, with one opening, with very small, very simple lens, and a big, big and heavy tripod. And to the left, there is a typical atelier in the past, which was used for portraiting people. And such success of photography started, and even some painters said very, very sadly that their jobs just finished after inventing photography. And you can also see the man sitting here very quietly with such holdings, because the time of exposure was very, very long, even 15 minutes. Try to sit with no motion for some 15 minutes. Even don't close your eyes, don't say anything, because otherwise the picture will be completely blurry. So it wasn't easy at the beginning. Then there were, of course, many different discoveries, and all the time this technological progress was occurring. So here you can see the first very small amateur camera called Brownie. Brownie cameras were produced by American company called Kodak. Perhaps you know the name because they exist all the time on the market. And the first Brownie costed about $25, and then it was even cheaper, and it costed only $1. So it was accessible for many, many amateurs around the world. And the advertisement, as you can see on the right side, it wouldn't be maybe very popular today, as the camera was shown usually with hand of women. It was so simple that even women could operate it. So crazy idea. Today we don't think about women as someone less smart than men. So, but this was in old time. This is the famous Kodak girl. Then, of course, some other constructions occurred, just like two very, very famous companies, Nikon and Canon. Even today, you can have such cameras. Of course, today we have much more modern cameras. You can also see here that the names at the beginning were completely different than today. For example, Nikon Kogaku, Canon Kabushiki Kaisha. So it's very difficult to pronounce maybe. The first camera made by Canon was called Quanon, like goodness, one of the goodness, Japan goodness. So you can see the analog construction, and they were all based on the film, on the film, special film covered with very sensitive substance, chemical substance, and this substance was sensitive to light. And this was the way of capturing light then the film has to be developed, and then we could make a print. Of course, today digital era started in 70s, and here you can see the first digital camera produced again by Kodak, and the weight was about 4 kilograms, and it was able to save about 30 pictures. One picture was about 100 part of megapixel, and it was saved over 23 seconds every picture on audio tape, and then it could be displayed on black and white TV screen. Completely crazy. Can you imagine to hold such a camera today and make a selfie? It's probably not possible at all. Of course, today we have a lot of different cameras, usually digital ones, from simple compact cameras through smartphone cameras, through DSLR cameras, very big one, professional ones, but also amateur, just smaller one. And at the end, we started with era of mirrorless cameras, and these are the most modern ones. Completely electronic devices with very rich menu, many different options, so many that people are sometimes completely lost trying to find the proper one. You can see here that we can use different brushes, yes, different hammers, completely different tools, but all those gears are just tools for capturing light. Perhaps you know how many of the pictures we create every year, and what part is created with use of really camera, and what part is made by mobiles. It is really a modern era. You can see that almost more than 90% is made by mobile phones, but only about 7% we made with use of cameras. So the era of real cameras, optical cameras, is probably ending. Of course, we will start probably in the future with something like how to say, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the proper word, but there are some calculations about how to make beautiful photo with electronics, with some formulas, with some algorithms, and this will be era of artificial intelligence probably. So maybe the photography, this classical photography will survive. I hope so. But you should know that today we are somewhere in different place. And this is shocking. This chart is really shocking. We started with first heliography. It wasn't even photography in 1826 here, and there was just few creations like heliographies, daguerreotypes, something like that. And till today, you can see what was the progress. Last year, we produced almost 2 trillion pictures with cameras, with smartphones, with different gear. So, and this is all the time increasing. And this is just the shortest history of photography. We started with the left side and ended to the right side. This picture on the left shows the first light capturing success, which was made before the formal date of photography invention. and it was made by one of French inventors, and it showed just his view from the window in the near Paris. The possession was the Legrand, and it's almost not seen. It's just something bright and something dark parts. And this was just metal plate covered with some kind of asphalt. And then it was exposed to light for over 8 hours. And after it was developed, just washed in the very special oils, just to get something which was different lightness, different brightness. Yes, and at the end, we started with selfie era. So we create almost 55,000 images per second in the whole world. It's really huge number. And every third photo is just a selfie. Perhaps you know this from your own experience. I don't like to say selfie. I'm sorry about the joke, but this is very, maybe very common. Maybe you've seen it before, but this is really huge difference between what it was in the past and what it is today. But if you can see, selfie, it's not an invention of of today world, because in the past, at the beginning of photography history, there were also some kind of selfie made. Even in the year when the photography started in 1839, some photographer tried to make a portrait of himself. So I will maybe send you this presentation, and you can see, you can find on internet some, clicking some links, how many selfies we make, how many deaths we create by taking selfie in very dangerous surroundings. What places are the most popular for taking the selfie, and so on, so on. But coming back to photography, maybe this will be very sad message, but everything has already been done. So what can we do more? Because all the landscapes, all the buildings, all the history, all the events in the history were just photographed. So today we are able to create very perfect pictures using these very sophisticated digital cameras, then with post-processing, improving it in many professional softwares, using artificial intelligence to sharpen the edges, everything like that. Is it any more to do? Would you like to create the same as many people did in the past? What can we do to be seen by other people? Because it's really hard time to be perceived, to be noticed by the world. Yes, how can you create something different? And this is very important. Do you know how long time we look at the picture? What is the average time we see a picture, a photograph? It's only a part of a second. So what can we do to attract people's attention and keep their attention for longer time than a second? This is not only market, this is not only for pictures, for good selling or any services, but also for your own. You would like to be probably noticed by other people. So we should try to find any kind of any kind of way how to shoot really special, really very special, your own pictures. And this is the question. What does it mean that you are a good photographer? Is it just pressing buttons? Is it just post-processing in the Photoshop? There is something different. In my opinion, the most important is what you perceive around yourself, what you can see. Seeing visions are the most important. So a good photographer is the person who perceives more than average man, even in the place where is almost nothing interesting. And what is then the difference between object, which is photographed, and the subject, which is photographed? So there are two different words, there are two different terms, because we sometimes can use even a table, and having a camera will bring you possibility, opportunity to create many different emotional states only with use the camera and the table. And these are many different ways to do that. Of course, you should know what the camera will see, because the cameras see the world completely differently than we do. Of course, at the last step, you should know what to select, what kind of settings you use to get the right picture. So there is always the question, there is always the discussion, what's the more important, techniques or seeing or techniques? Of course, some people say only camera, buttons, and techniques. I'm saying seeing and vision is the most important. And the good photography is not the buttography, just pressing the buttons. And okay, so what can you photograph? What are the objects we are photographing? Just everything. This can be just landscapes, different places, buildings, architecture, outdoor, indoor, street photography, sport events, people, just like portraying people's nude, just food, goods. This can be animals, plants, just everything. But anytime you photograph something, just think about the question, what would you like to show? Is it just an object, or maybe you have something you want to say about it? Perhaps it is your vision of an object. Perhaps you want to show your internal state, your emotion, to express your emotion using just the objects. So the subjects are something different. What I'm feeling about something, what is my opinion about community I'm living in, about society, about the country I'm living, and try to look at it in your own personal and completely different way the other people do. So we can also try to make art. So it means just breaking some taboos, breaking some rules. We don't need to be very, very close with the rule of third, some symmetry, some points where we should put our objects. No, today it's not the time for rules, for the classical composition of the image. There is the time for looking for yourself in the pictures. And I'm sometimes trying to make a kind of division between documentary photography and creative photography. And this is something, of course, in between, but just to look at it. For example, what is documentary picture photo? For example, you have probably your passports with some face images in it. Is it an art? Is it some kind of opinion about yourself? No, this is just an image to identify you you as a person, given person, just on the border between the countries. There is also medical photography, just X-ray, for example. This is scientific photography. These are completely documents, no space for creation. For example, Google Maps and Street Views, these are not any creation like artistic creation. These are only documentary pictures. The same is about police. Perhaps you drive some car and sometimes you have some fine because the speed camera found you just crossing the speed limit. So any kind of this documentary photography is just, it should be as realistic as possible. It should be really almost what we see, what we perceive with our sight. So it's a kind of documentation, recreation of something which is in our real world. And on the other side, the opposite is creative photography, which can be also divided into two separate groups. One of them are all the creations which improve the world, as we can see. For example, commercial photography, business for image, for good image of business women, for example. All kind of advertisements. All particular goods are shown as much more beautiful than they are. I'm sure that you know very, very well what we can see in magazines, colorful advertisements for just buying goods or services. But on the other hand, we have something we could say just fine art. And inside the fine art, we are not talking about objects. We are talking about themes, about subjects. And of course, this part in between, like portrait photography, even product photography, a kind of photojournalism, can be more, can be something between documentary and something with some signs of creation, because any photographer, any photojournalist has his own style, his own way of photographing things. Among portraits, you can see the difference between passport photography and, for example, artistic portrait of some faces, or not only faces, but many different types of portraits. So decide what kind of photography you want to represent. Are you rather artist, or are you rather just photographer, just someone who knows the rules, is perfect in just showing real words? I prefer showing my own word, even if it's landscape, it's my own landscape, yes. And I'm sure that every of you is able to do that too. And some examples, you can see this is just documentary. If you want to sell something on internet, you should photograph it as it is. If you want to recognize the species of the bird, you should show it like it is, with no corrections, no improvements, and no any artistic means. To the left side, you can see just X-ray. These are lungs of my husband, who was really very, very ill last month. And to the right side, I used just this X-ray and other element, which is just a green plant in a pot, just to show that he's just curing himself. So you can use even this documentary photo to create your own expression about. This is just creation only. Is it about willow twists? somehow it is, but it's my own vision of these trees, and I can show it as bright, overexposed or underexposed, and I'm creating something I call just atmosphere, just a mood. This left side is rather sad, the right side is rather lighter, is rather more positive maybe. So what are the main functions of photography? Photography plays really many different roles in our lives. So the first was just for identifying places, faces, species, just items, to archive, and we can archive buildings, monuments, spare parts of the cars, but also we can archive our personal histories. I'm sure that you like to create your own diary using your pictures about yourself, about your kids, about your families, about your cars, your homes, and everything like that. But there are also such historical records. Even just common picture can be very, very precious after many years, as it is a kind of historical record. So for many people, photography is just opportunity, a kind of excuse to go outside, to go outdoor, to go for a walk, just to breathe fresh air. For others, it's a way of running out from real world, because sometimes we are really very sad, depressed, very tired. So this is just a kind of activity which gives us a kind of the rest. But these red ones parts are for me the most important. Every time you take your camera in your hands and try to photograph anything, you in fact try to interpret your own world. And you try to express yourself, even if you don't know about it. So maybe you have other ideas about functions of photography. This is open discussion. Okay, starting with some just simple tricks which are just to show different realities using the same objects. So this is the visual language. We start with these two pictures, which are pictures of the same pathway, very muddy ones, but two orientations, landscape and portrait orientation. I'm really, I would really be happy if you are able to answer me now. What is the difference in perception of these two, seeing of these two pathways? Can you answer me the question? What is about the left side and right side photography? What can you say about it? Is anyone willing to share his or her opinion with us?
Come on, Devani, you can respond directly,
Yeah.
Devani.
Yeah.
Dev?
Yes. Yes, of course. I would be loving it if you are able to
Yeah.
answer just now,
Yeah.
right now.
She wrote the chat room. I feel like the portrait photo looks more open, she said.
Yes,
Devani said.
more open. Yeah. Anything else?
Anything
I
else?
can see that yeah, yeah,
Okay,
please.
the landscape one, it seems like it is only focusing like on the muddy part or the puddle, yeah. And but in the landscape, sorry, the portrait one, we have like a proper outlook towards, like we can see the trees and we can see that the path is going on for a bit,
Yes.
and even the slight mist or fog that is at the end. And even
Mhm.
I can see that it's like sunset, perhaps. It's like a golden hour time, something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Isn't the left side wider, more muddy, and
Yeah.
the right side longer one?
Yes.
It is. It is. So depending on what you want to show, you can use different orientation. Just simple.
Exactly.
But we are using it just intuitively. Usually, when we use just smartphones, we use the portrait orientation. When we use camera, we usually use the horizontal perspective because our eyes are located horizontally. So that's natural for our perception. Okay, we can make a picture with the landscape using the horizontal line or without it, but we will see completely different story. Can you see the difference? What do you see on the right side and what do you see on the left side? I'm sure that the picture without horizon line shows you some details. For example, the grass here or the puddle, the water. On the left side, when we use horizon line inside the picture, we usually perceive the space, three-dimensional space. Without it, the picture becomes more flat, two-dimensional. And if you want to draw attention to any detail, like a flower, for example, don't use a horizon line, because then people will be rather not attracted to the particular detail. If you want to show something which is three-dimensional, show it with horizon line. Perhaps it's difficult to see it here, but this is the same picture, of course, just changed direction. But we usually read images from the left side to the right side. And if you change the direction, sometimes the pictures have something very heavy in it. So you can sometimes just experiment with the direction of pictures. Okay, you may use short or long exposure, and you will get completely different view. You can use different lens, different optics. For example, to the left side, you can see the same waterfall using very long lens, telelens, and on the right side, this is the same waterfall made with use of fisheye. So completely different story, depending on what you want to show. Okay. These are two pictures taken at the beginning of COVID times, when there was necessary to keep the distance, personal distance. And two photojournalists were sent to the same place to show the queue. And you can see that on the left side picture, we can see that people don't have these proper distances. And on the right side, they keep them. So depending on the lens. To the left side, it was longer, much longer lens, and to the right side, very, very short one. And even here, we can see really, really great difference. This is the same boy, but the picture was taken with very short lens when I was very close to him, and the second one I was in a farther distance using longer lens. Perhaps you know that using our smartphones to take selfie, we started usually with keeping the smartphone very, very close to our faces, and even from the bottom up. So then the pictures were really, really awful. So then people just started looking for the way how to make beautiful portrait. So they started to keep the smartphones far away and from the top. So the selfies became better. Why it is so? Because in smartphones we have only very short lenses, and if they are put very close to your face, you will get just caricature. Okay, we love perfect beauty. We love it. To the right is just a portrait made by artificial intelligence. To the left is the real picture, but not one. There are 50 of them, which are just combined together. So what is the real perfect beauty, this classical beauty? What is in? Perhaps you've seen, you've heard about Fibonacci series, about golden ratio. This is something which is connected with proportion, perfect proportions. About this is 1,618. This is the perfect proportion between different parts of the body, faces, and so on. But what is interesting here, there was even article in Nature magazine, so one of the most important scientific magazines. This lady is just a combination of 50 ladies. So what we like, what we call beauty is just something average. Average look of many different faces together will be the beautiful, the most beautiful. And I don't think that looking at people who would be all perfectly beauty would be really nice. The beauty is somewhere different. I am sure that the beauty, the real beauty, is not our faces. It's something inside us. Of course, this is the opposite story. These are really, really not perfect. But the imperfections shown here are over. Is it like caricature? The photographer is very, very bad man, really, American photographer Bruce Gilden, and he creates just such portraits just to show something awful, something disgusting. Yes, of course, much of his work is just creation in a post-processing. Okay, we love beautiful landscapes, of course, but maybe it is just for feeling something inside which is really, really beautiful. And we would like to feel it. We are just somewhere in the beautiful place. But is it necessary to show just all the time the same beauty? Perhaps it's better to show sometimes like imperfection, with a large grain, with large digital noise, with something gray, with something sad. The world is not always perfect, and maybe the perfection is just sitting in imperfection. Just think about it. Of course, we know what golden hour is. It's really nice to be there and to feel it, to see it, to be very happy in that moment. But in fact, sometimes we have, even more often, we have such views. These were my vacation in Greece last year. I was very ill that time, and this was hurricane, a very strong one. No Greece vacation, no beaches, no beautiful sea. So sometimes it's maybe more interesting to show something completely different. Again, beautiful flowers, but maybe the truth is somewhere in the other place. The truth about our life, about our beauty, in a very, very short moment. Flowering flowers are only for very short time such beautiful, but then they are just dying, and maybe the process of dying is even more common and more beautiful than this short time of blooming. This is something very special. The man here, Miroslav Tichy, was the photographer who used only cameras constructed by himself. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Cartoons, something different than common cameras, and they are his works, completely imperfect. But he's one of the most expensive photographers today. He is not alive any longer, but his works are very, very expensive till today. This is a kind of different aesthetics. Try to find something different, because perfect stories, we have it too many on pictures. Much more interesting are imperfections, as they are much more many more possibilities to get something imperfect than perfect. The perfect is only one, and imperfect is many different. This is an example, just lomography. Perhaps you've heard about it, like a small group of students from Switzerland came to Russia once day, and they had no camera, so they bought the cheapest one on the market, Uomo, the camera Uomo. It was many years ago, and they also bought very old films. You can see them. And then they started just to play with the camera, to have some fun, and they created something completely different than before in photography. Today, such pictures, such images are in the most famous galleries on the walls, on exhibitions. So don't be so restricted to one type of photography, really. Today, we of course use these digital cameras, but there is also very small space for pinhole cameras like in the past. So you are able to make your own pinhole camera. I have once. My digital camera I use every day. I just took off the lens, and instead the lens, I just made a pinhole in a small black material. And then every picture you take will be completely different. So what's the point? It is always up to you what and how you want to show anything. But usually, remember, you are showing something you feel about something. So what then? These are very traditional pictures. For example, a sunset on the sea coast with the horizon line in the middle, and the sun also in the middle of the frame. But such pictures seem to be maybe not proper. But why? They are proper. You can do everything you want. But the problem is that if you put something into the middle of the frame, they seems to be a little bit boring for the longer perspective, because everything you put in the middle of the frame is very still, no motion at all. So many such pictures, if you have many of them and look at them, they seems to be a little bit monotonous. But of course, symmetry, blue colors, horizon line in the middle can also be understood as something very quiet. A kind of calm can be seen in such picture. So you may use whatever you want. Of course, this is just a rule of third. Perhaps you've heard about it. This is maybe one of the most popular rules. When you put two vertical and two horizontal lines, the rule is that all the lines, important lines in the image, should be placed somewhere close to this lines shown on the network here. And the most important objects should be somewhere close to the points of crossing points. So if you compare the two pictures here, most probably the bottom one will be more attractive, will be appealing more to you, because it's just more dynamic. The horizon line lies just close to the 2/3, and coastline is just the 1/3 of the height, while the men are standing close to this cross line. And here, the horizon line in the middle, the man in the middle. So no motion. And to the right side, it's rather more dynamic. Remember that we have no the one eye, central eye, but we have double to the both sides. So we perceive such pictures as the bottom ones as better. But this is not only position in the frame. This is also the color, the lines, the shadows, the lights. Everything like this will create a kind of atmosphere. But you don't need to look always for something common beauty. You may also find something which is, for example, rainy. You may use your flash in the night. You may use some grunge background just to combine two pictures like here. You may use different kinds of lines. Remember that curve lines like this S line to the left is all the time more pleasant, more appealing. The zigzag is rather more dramatic. The horizontal lines means that something is very, very quiet. The vertical lines are they have more dynamics in it. But the skew line, which are such like here in the buildings, are very, very dramatic, and they make something with us that we don't know what is where is the point we can hang on. So all the time when you use diagonals, the speed is faster, and this is just flowing water in the stream, and the speed of the water flow is much faster to the left. The same story is about photojournalism. Many photographers just move with the camera a little just to have greater dynamics. Then you may think about photography as a representation of, for example, a forest, just like on this picture. But what is very special, photography is two-dimensional medium, while the world is three-dimensional. So how can we show the third dimension? We may use, for example, the perspective lines, like the shadows of the tree, and our side will be drawn by the lines into the deep forest. So this is a very good way of showing this third dimension, just like here, very typical one. We love rhythms, something which is repeatable. Why do we like so much these rhythms in music, in images, everywhere? Heart beating is a natural rhythm. Seasons of the year, day and night, we are surrounded by different rhythms. Do you think that you would feel comfortable if you don't know if the sun will rise tomorrow? We will be probably very frightened, no safe. So the rhythmical compositions are really something for relaxation. But if we use only these rhythmical pictures with no breaking element, they will be just very, very monotonous and boring. So usually in photography, we use something to break the monotony of the rhythm. Then perspective. You can, of course, use your own perspective with the level of your side, but you can sometimes use another ones. For example, warm eye perspective from the bottom up. What do you see here? The man seems to be more powerful, taller, stronger than he is. And if you use portrait vertical orientation, a little bit moved camera and from the bottom up, then you will get, for example, the impression that the women are really, really very angry. Then you may use the other perspective from the high from your hands when you put the camera very, very high. What is for? Just to show that, for example, many people came to the event. So short lens and very high camera position. Don't use the perspective from the top down because especially in relation to small creatures like the pigs, because here they don't have legs, almost don't have legs. You can see they are just stuck to the hand. But then if you want to have a friend, just go down and look at it from its own layer, its own position. So long legs, beautiful eyes, beautiful nose, everything like that. Even here, the upper picture seems to be really well done. But if you look on someone from the position which is higher, you have a slave. You are someone more important than the dog. If you want to have friend, just go down. And this perspective is much better because then we can communicate with eyes. Then you can, for example, make such tricks like trying to mimic something. If you look at this image, you most probably will see jellyfish, but this is not jellyfish. This is frozen lamp during night in the city. So this is just ice on it. If you look at this image, you will probably see some galaxies on the sky in the outer space, but these are not. These are just small waves on the lake surface lit by sunlight. So you may try to trick someone. Very good way is just to show the world, which is very simple. One line, two small objects, very clean background, black and white. But you can see here a kind of discussion between the two species, between the creatures. What do you see here? Of course, this is easy to guess that this is just old tree without bark. But I can see here a woman, a lady with a small head here, a big belly here, maybe some breast, and perhaps you know this play when you see some clouds on the sky. Then you just try to imagine just many different creatures, maybe some animals, some dreams about it, some feeling about it, some association about it. So don't be so obvious, so strict in showing the world. Very good way to focus people side on your image is just framing inside the frame. So, for example, just a window, which make a kind of framing, natural framing. The same kind of window, even small window, much black surface, but everyone will see through the window. Everyone side will be just like just attracted by this light inside. The same is here. So framing is really good idea to surround your main object, which not necessarily is very attractive. You may use, for example, reflections, even on cars. Try to go to the city and just photograph all the city using only reflection in anything. You will have some kind of distortion when you use, for example, like here is a mirror, a car mirror from the other side. I sometimes are so bored with sunset and sunrise. People love it, but you know, too many times I was observing it. So now I'm trying to find different way of showing it. So I use sometimes just mirrors, just to have some fun. This is just a crystal ball. The picture is upside down, and I was sitting in the car. There was heavy rain outside, and I was waiting for better weather. So these are just reflections in this window and in this ball. This is a reflection of some landscape with use of small mirror with a golden frame. I was holding the mirror in my left hand, camera in right hand, and showed what was in my back. The same, if you don't have a mirror, you have always your smartphone with you. So you may use your smartphone as a mirror, and then you will get some symmetry. You may use some longer exposures just to imitate explosion, just by zooming with your simple lens, zoom lens. The same is here. Then you may use your camera as brush just for painting trees. Use just 1/10 of a second to paint in the same direction the vertical trees are growing. The same with very small movements of my hands. The same is here. Your pictures are not necessarily sharp. This is not obvious that every picture should be sharp. You may make unsharp pictures. You may just rotate with the camera. You may move during your trip by, for example, train. There are two directions. The one was with my hands, the second with the train movement. These are just abstract pictures with flying ducks on the water. Then you may underexpose picture to create very, very dangerous atmosphere. This was underexposed by 3 steps probably. Here is the same horrific surroundings with the same willows, which were like this one during the early morning in the fog. The same willows are here, but overexposed, completely different feeling. As I said, your pictures don't necessarily have to be sharp and have to be properly exposed. This is not documentary picture. This is a picture about my dream to go somewhere in the unknown place. The picture can also be with digital noise, unsharp, with no colors almost. This was taken over 2 seconds when I was holding my camera in my hands, and the horses were standing, and it was very, very late in the day. Sometimes it's a good idea to find completely different gear. This is an idea of very, very old lens made by people who are bored with very classical beauty. And this is just early lens made by Petzval. First lenses were not perfect, and you cannot find any sharp point, but you can find very funny lights. The source of light, if you have it in the frame, you will have such butterflies. This is my pinhole camera used for different objects, flowers, seacoast, and my friend, and 3 different colors made after taking pictures. Then multiple exposure. Many of your cameras have such an option, and I usually use it taking 2 shots And then the two shots are just combined together as one picture. And at both pictures here, the small lines are just the waves on the lake, but the position was horizontal, orientation was horizontal, while the rest is just a landscape and my friend standing on the small belt of land between two lakes. Again, double exposure with flying geese. This is just a motion, showing the motion. The same with double exposure. One picture is completely sharp, normal. The second one is unsharped by by myself with manual focusing. The same double exposure. The one picture is quite normal tree on the meadow, and the second picture I took when I moved my camera upside down. So there are many such stories, and maybe at the end I will show you something which is for me very special. We love landscapes. You are probably as ecotouristic, nature protection people, which are especially interested in landscapes, in their beauty. And it appeared during many research studies that people, especially those who has almost no experiences with traveling abroad, with traveling to another places, when they try to select the image with the most beautiful landscape, they usually choose open landscapes with green grass, with some individual trees growing somewhere in some places, with hilly terrain, and sometimes blue sky and white clouds on it, just like this one. Why do we like such landscape so much? And it appeared that we are biologically determined by our old history. And the old history was such like here. Our origin of all people, all humanity, was about 2 million years on the African savanna. And if the savanna was after the rainy season, it was completely green. So animals came and it was a lot of food around. The trees, sparse trees with white crowns were very good for observing world farther, and also to run out from the dangers, for example, tigers or lions. So it was really something which gave us better adaptation to survive. The same was about white clouds, because white clouds was just a sign of coming rain, so coming food. So everything what served to our survival was something very important to us, and it is still important to us, as we usually prefer such landscapes all the time. And one experimental work of two painters, there were Russian people migrated to America, Komar and Melamed. They made such an experiment. They create a questionnaire with many different questions. And then there was a company making this survey, and few thousands people were surveyed, and they asked about favorite colors, favorite objects, favorite look of people, landscapes, lines, everything like that. And based on the results, they just made paintings about preferred landscapes, preferred images in different countries, and what they looked like. They were always almost the same. Open landscape, some mountains, some green grass, some people, and animals and some water and some clouds, everything like that. Very, very typical view. We know it very well, probably. The differences were maybe in animals and look of people. The same was in our country, and they found something like that. So we are all very, very similar. It doesn't mean that you should just take such pictures, only such pictures. It would be really crazy. It would be really, really cheap, trashy, like the painting here, which is the most trashy picture I have ever seen, with the roaring deer on the lake. You know, it's rather for some people with no ambition. So it was also traditional Hudson River School in America when the middle class was just appearing those times, and they had no ambition. Maybe they would like to have something beautiful in the world, so they bought many of such pictures with no ambitional views. The same is in landscape photography, traditional landscape photography, for example, by Ansel Adams, the father of landscape photography. And the same we can see here. This is Art Wolfe photography, landscape photography, which is placed then in many calendars. If you want to sell goods, if you want to sell your work, you may just create such pictures with open landscapes, and every time you will sell it with success. But if you want, maybe I will skip it, but if you want to show your own idea about landscape, about nature, you may, for example, find something different, like artificial greenery, municipal greenery. This is one of my projects from the past. I was just looking for some artificial greenery in our municipal space. But then you don't need to be very, very objective. Be subjective. Create your own world. I can show you just short projects from my own experiences, because sometimes I'm in deep depression, and then I'm trying to find something what is just sitting inside me. Try to show the movement, the motion of your nature, just like here, multi-exposure. Yes, you don't need to be very, very strict. This is my nature combined together with our human world. These are just imprints. These are just similarities and contrasts between our human life and nature life, something like that. So try to find the special issue you are interested in and try to show it. These are, for example, some pictures about very, very sadful nature today. So first, think about what you feel about something. Imagine that you want to show a wolf, just an animal. Would you like to show that it has 4 paws, a mouth, a nose, and ears, everything like that? You probably feel something about wolf. I can feel, for example, that the animal is very, very family loving, and it's very delicate and aggressive at the same time. Try to show it. What is the most important trait of the wolf? Try to show it. This is just normal wolf, yes, from Wikipedia. The look of wolf only. But now these are pictures made by Jim Brandenburg. Aggression, hunger, some very, very high face, maybe family, maybe some love. This is the most important, what we feel about it. So at the end, I will show you very famous drawing of one painter's, famous painter, French painter. And the title is that this is not a pipe. So what is it? It is just representation of the pipe. So remember it, that every picture you take is not the object, it's just representation of it. So you don't need to show objects. You may show something you feel about the object. So find what is most important to you, what you feel about it. Just write down the maybe five adjectives about it. And then think how I want to show it. First think, then shoot, not the opposite. So object, simple object, camera, and your idea, and then you will create a story. Using many different visual symbols like this, settings, distance, exposure, perspective, colors, everything like that. And don't shoot only beautiful pictures. Tell your own personal story and be authentic. And at the end, this is the saying of one of my favorite photographers, Elliot Erwitt, that the photography today, it's not about finding some interesting object. This is something about what you perceive, what you see about this object. So remember about it. So I'm sorry about so long speech, but I hope that it wasn't very boring for you. That's all. And if you, of course, if you have any questions, just you have probably a little bit more time. I hope so. That's all.
So thank you so much, Taida. It's so interesting, yeah, because in this social media era, everybody wants to have photography photography skill. It's very important skill now, and you just give us
Yes.
the most important tricks and trick strategy for
I
photography.
know that it's a little bit different, but I
Of
have
course.
enough. I have really enough this perfectionism. Everywhere you can find tutorials, everywhere you can read that
Yeah.
you are a photographer. You are, this is very simple. 3 steps towards perfection. Yes, don't be so.
Yeah.
Try
So
to find yourself. Yeah.
right, we give this more substantive, yeah, for of photography, not always like Taida already said, that not just focus on beauty, perfection. No, try to say something more substantive, right? Okay, that's
And
why
something more personal, especially personal.
right,
Don't
right,
copy any from the past. Yeah.
right,
Of
right.
course, beautiful pictures are also important, but
Of
remember
course,
about your own vision. Yeah, that's the
right.
most important.
Oh,
If you like watching movies, I would advise you. There is a documentary movie. It's only 1 hour. It's Swedish production, and the title is "And the King Said, What a Fantastic Machine It Is." This is the story from Camera Obscura till streamings on YouTube today. Very funny and very sad at the same time. I can write you after our meeting the title of it and try to find it. It's really
sure.
perfect to see what we are doing to ourselves. Yes. Yeah,
Yes, please. And then I will distribute the information to the participants, of course, to the students.
of course.
Is there any question, guys? Question to Taida? Hmm?
No questions.
So many things now we know, yeah, from about photography. Well, to give more values for photography.
I shall.
Taida,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any, yeah.
yeah.
May I? All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Taida, this was so good. Honestly, I want to tell you that even though I'm like in a science profession, but I am an amateur photographer as well because I just love showing things from my own perspective. And this has been, I have taken many photography like sessions and trainings. and from very well-known ones in Pakistan as well. But this was one of the best sessions I've ever had, and in which I actually learned something.
Thank you very much,
So
really.
hats off to you. It was so wonderful. And you know, I was supposed to be at work like 45 minutes ago, but it was so interesting I couldn't get up.
Thank you very
So,
much.
yeah.
Okay. What about assignment, photography assignment? Shall I
Yes.
give you
Yes,
something?
Okay.
yes, Saida, yes. Because okay, so the reason also why we have this photography session, guys, because as I already told you from the beginning, because we will have photography competition, okay? And Dr. Taida Tarabula will be the judge, yeah? Because she is the judge, and maybe now Dr. Taida wants to share how should you do this for this how you will do this assignment, but just one requirement from us, just one, Dr. Taida, the 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 photo photo results from them, so we will make a group. Yeah, so they will be divided by groups, a group for 4 people for each group, okay? And each group can submit maximum 2 photos, but they have to give description about the photo and how it relates to our theme, ecotourism, nature conservation, and food security, synergies and trade-offs. That's all from us, from the organizer. Yeah. Thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you. So maybe yeah, I understand that people will work together in small subgroups, yes. And is that possible that I suggest something for?
Yeah,
Or
of course.
yes.
Yes.
If there are maximum 2 pictures, perhaps it's a good idea to combine them in a form of something we call diptych. Diptych means 2 pictures together. I will maybe show you one only example. It is just a moment. I will try to find it on my screen. Where do I have it? Okay, no, this is not so. Moment.
Take your time, doctor. It's all right.
Okay, I'm sorry that I couldn't find it so fast. No, it's not this one. Don't to combine the 2 pictures which are maybe similar or completely different, contrasting things about, for example, ecotourism or human and nature connections, interplay of these 2. I will just show it. I found it. Moment. Uppsala. I cannot find. Where can I? Wow! Where I am here? Yes, I'm on Zoom here, and where can I find the? I cannot find our screen. Okay, on Zoom.
That's okay.
Yes.
Saida, we are still here.
Yes,
No worries.
I know it. Okay. That's the. Can you see it? Or not?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is only one of my diptychs. This is beginning of the project. Perhaps maybe not very clear idea for you here, but if you try to put 2 pictures, one nearby the second one, and try to say something about, for example, beautiful and not beautiful, ugly, beautiful, and human-made, nature-made, something like that. Of course, relating to the main theme, this ecotourism or this food security, something like that. Two
Of course.
faces, two visions together, two
Mm.
sides of the story.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah, it's maybe
Yeah.
not very
It's a
easy,
good.
but
I think it's a good challenge for them.
yeah.
Good challenge for you guys. Okay, so then every group has to submit 2 photos. Yeah, 2 photos. Then okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. How about guys? Do you have any question about the assignment? Because Dr. Taida will be your judge. So this is a good opportunity for you guys to ask 1-2 question. Is okay? We still have time. Is there any? Hello? Sorry, who's that? Okay, Rifda, do you have question to Dr. Tarabula?
Okay,
Rifda.
thank you so much for this opportunities, Miss Meilani. I want to ask for Miss Taida, for beginners like me, it's better to learn saying first or technique first because I'm really interested to learn but confused about the first step. Thank you.
Good question.
I'm not
Alright.
sure if I caught it. I know I could hear that you are a beginner, but the rest of the sentence I couldn't hear it perfectly. Could you say it maybe again, or
Yeah.
maybe Melanie, maybe you could explain it to me?
Rifda, can you repeat your question?
Okay, yes, I can, Miss. For beginner like me, if I want to take the photo, I would like to learn about saying first or technique first because I'm really
Seeing
interested.
first, really, seeing first, all the time.
First.
Techniques will come later on, really. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just enough to have your smartphone and to find something. Try as many pictures of the same object as you can. And every picture should be different than the first one. Yes? If you are able to take, for example, 50 different pictures of the same object.
Yeah.
Let's say the leaf of a tree. Try to take it from different perspectives, from different distances, make a different color, anything like that, sharp, unsharp, blurry, the fragment of it. Try to play with it. Don't panic if something gets wrong. Yes, don't panic. You can every time concentrate on your leaf. The longer you work, the more you see. Every time. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, doctor. Just one more question. Okay, is there any more question? Is there any more? Okay, I don't think so because yeah, today is quite busy for us, doctor. We have four for session today.
Yeah. Thank you once more
Right.
for inviting me. I hope that it is something which you can use in the future. Yeah.
Yes, of course, it's very, very useful for us. Even that's why we fight for facilitating your session because okay,
Really
and
nice.
my colleague, let me do that, let me do that, but I'm winning. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dr. Taida Tarabula, for a very, very amazing presentation today. I'm really sure that all participants love it. Thank you so much, and give a big applause for Dr. Taida.
Thank you once more, and have a really good time during your next
Thank you so
session.
much, Dr. Taida.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you,
guys.
doctor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
doctor.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.